everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? My goodness, we've finally reached, after all this time, 50K subscribers, and I am so beside myself. I cannot believe it. If you're new here, hello, welcome. This is not the regular format of my episodes. I'll link to a couple of regular episodes in the description box down below. But if you're here, that's totally fine. We're going to do a little good old-fashioned Q&A to celebrate 50K subscribers. And that's what I usually do when I hit milestones like this, because what better way to answer your queries? Anyway, I'm Kristen. If you're a returning viewer, welcome. If you're new, again, this is usually a channel where I sit down and share what I've been making, primarily knitting. I also do some sewing, quilting. I dive down many a different rabbit hole here on this YouTube channel. So if that is your jam, gather around, grab a cup of something, and let's get into things, because we have a lot to cover today. So, hold that thought. But before I get into the Q&A, I do want to talk about an FO that you may or may not have noticed when you started watching this video. And yes, my No Frills pullover, my Christmas Eve cast on by PetiteKnit, is finished, my friends, and I am in love. I love this thing so much. It is so cozy, so soft, and I just want to live in it. I knit this out of my own hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, holding 2 strands of yarn together. The first yarn is my Volca base. That is my merino nylon cashmere blend. It's a fingering weight. It's so buttery, soft, buttered kittens to the max, and Ghost Lace, which is my silk and mohair lace weight base. And I will stand up so you can see it. And look at that, guys. I love this colorway so much. I'll do a little twirl for you guys. And yeah, this is my, again, Voolenvine yarns in my Gashly Crumb colorway, one of my favorite colorways that I dye. It's inspired by Edward Gorey, one of my favorite illustrators. He does all kinds of creepy, quirky, macabre illustrations. If you have not heard of him, I'll put a link to his website down below. He's long gone, but his legacy lives on. I just love his work so much that I dyed a couple colorways inspired by him. So yes, Gashly Crumb. Again, I'll stand up so you can see. As you can see, there is some slight pooling happening in this area right here. It looks a lot worse on camera than it does in person, I'll be totally honest, but you know, it's there. You can see it if you really look for it, and you know, sometimes it just can't be avoided. I mean, that's the nature of all hand-dyed yarns. I mean, you're going to get some pooling here and there. Sometimes you luck out and get a skein that knits up beautifully. And the way to, as I talked about in previous episodes, the way to remedy that or avoid having obvious pooling is to alternate skeins, or, you know, alternate skeins, but using a technique called helical knitting. And I'm not going to get into that here, but I will link to a tutorial down below so you can check it out for yourself. But it's very helpful. Again, it just kind of spreads out the pooling, making it less obvious. And I have a frog in my throat. But yes, that is my No Frills pullover. Again, a pattern by PetiteKnit. Highly recommend it. And, you know, again, I would also recommend this pattern if you are if you're new to sweater knitting, if you've never knit a sweater before, and, you know, you're looking for a very first pattern to knit your first sweater, this gets 2 big thumbs up from me. So again, I will link to this pattern down below along with everything else that I mentioned in this episode. But yeah, this was my Christmas Eve cast on, and I just finished it. I finished blocking it and weaving in the ends today. So yeah, I want to say about a month and a half it took me to whip up. So, you know, if I had more time, if I, you know, didn't get distracted by other new and shinies and other crafts, I probably would have had this finished a lot sooner, but easy peasy knit. Highly recommend it. Marga the Mannequin. Today, she is wearing my Exploration Station, which is, of course, a pattern by Stephen West. It is an oldie but a goodie, and as far as patterns go, a classic. I know Stephen West isn't everyone's cup of tea, but if you need a gateway drug into the land of Stephen West, this is your ticket, because it just incorporates so many stitch techniques that, you know, you never get bored, and you get to play with color. The yarn that I used for this is, of course, again, my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, in my blitzed base, believe it or not, which is a base that I only bring out around the holidays. That is, superwash merino, nylon, and gold stellina, and I'm using 4 different colorways. We have Jilted Rose, we have Dirty on Purpose, Black Pearl, and a colorway called Tega. And Black Pearl and Tega are colorways that I have not dyed in quite some time, and I should probably bring them back into rotation at some point. So hold that thought. I thoroughly enjoyed knitting this. It was definitely both a process and a product knit, so you know, it was the best of both worlds, I feel like. And I was so excited because I wore this to Rhinebeck and actually got to show it to Stephen West in person. I had a total fangirl moment. I think I should have a photo of that somewhere, so if I do, I'll pop a photo of it here so you can see. But one of my greatest Rhinebeck memories to date. So yeah, that is again the Exploration Station by Stephen West, and highly recommend that one as well. All right, my friends, let's get this 50K Q&A on the go. And again, if I did not get to your question, I'm so sorry. Hopefully I'll get around to it the next time I do a Q&A. There were, again, so many wonderful questions that I had to be picky and choosy with them. So to begin with, I have them all written out over here with some notes. First question is from Yarn Addictology, and they want to know, what is your favorite knitted or crocheted item to gift or to receive? Good question. To be honest, I rarely gift my hand knits. I'm a selfish knitter. I have no shame in saying that. Knitting is something that I enjoy doing for myself. It's how I relax. It's how I unwind. It's my business. It's my job. But when I do knit gifts, I do make sure that they're small and quick to whip up, such as a pair of socks or a hat. So something small but useful. And when it comes to receiving knits, who wouldn't love a pair of hand knit socks or mittens? Mittens are a wonderful, wonderful gift to receive from somebody. So I think at one point I did knit a pair of fingerless mitts for a friend. But yeah, mittens I think are a really nice gift to receive. Next question is from Half Calf Crochet. Hi. She says, what are you looking forward to in your 40th decade? Ooh, yeah. 40s. In case you're just tuning in, I just turned 40 last week, so hello. I'm part of the 40 and over bracket. It feels wonderful to be here. As far as what I'm looking forward to in my 40s, I would have to say more travel. I love to travel, and if there's one thing that I really missed during, deep pandemic days, was the ability to hop on a plane and go somewhere new. Unpopular opinion, but I love getting on planes and flying. I love flying. Granted, I don't like having limited leg space and not having the ability to just really get up and walk around. There's something about just being in a nice, cozy little seat and just having a little table and being able to knit for long periods of time, listening to an audiobook or watching a movie, knowing that once the plane lands, you're going to be in a totally new place and have this awesome adventure. That's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. So I hope to do more of that in my 40s. It goes without saying, there are many other things that I'm excited to experience in my 40s, or, who knows what the future holds. But I think travel is what I'm most excited about. So great question. Thank you. Hexknit asks, your personal best knitting tip for intermediate/advanced knitters. That's another great question, because I feel like most people always ask, what's your best tip for beginner knitters? And, we've all got that covered. I think there are many YouTube channels out there with lots of great beginner knitter tips and tricks and all that jazz. But when it comes to intermediate and advanced, I would have to say, don't get too cocky. I know, hear me out. But, I feel like when you get to a certain level of experience when it comes to knitting or any skill, you get a certain level of cockiness. Like, you get a little smug. Be open to learning new things. So again, you get to a certain level of expertise and skill, and you think, okay, I know this, I've got this, but there's more than one way to do something. So be open to the idea of learning a new skill, a new technique, using a new tool. And I will also say, stay humble, be kind, never shame anybody for using a less than popular or advanced tool. I know I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to say it for the people in the back, because everyone's going at their own speed, everyone's at different levels. And that said, don't be above meeting other people where they're at in their knitting journey or fiber journey, if that makes any sense. Annie Knits asks, is being a hand dyer your main job, or what is your profession? Yes, I am a full-time hand dyer. So Voolenvine Yarns, my hand dyed yarn company, that that is all full time. I work from home. I have a dedicated studio in my basement that I lovingly call the Dye Dungeon. Before I became a full-time hand dyer, I was working as a full-time video editor, and I was kind of moonlighting on the side as a yarn dyer. So I didn't quit my day job immediately, but I was basically working 2 jobs. I would work my 9 to 5, sometimes 6 and 7, come home, dye yarn. I would work on the weekends, and once I was able to match my salary and have a little bit of extra cushion for wiggle room, then I was able to give my 2 weeks notice and take my current job full time. So ever since I left my video editing job, I've been dyeing yarn full time for, I want to say, I just came upon 8 years now, 8+ years dyeing yarn, a little more because I was doing it while I was working the video editing job. But yeah, I've been doing it for that long now, and no regrets. Best decision I ever made. I love being my own boss and love having you as my customers, and it's the best job ever. And I'm so happy that I still get to use my video editing skills when it comes to this YouTube channel. So I think it was a win-win situation all around. I hope I'm pronouncing your username right, but Mardiana Knits says, "You're obviously a strong, independent woman." Thank you. But does your hubby help you with any fiber stuff? Yeah, he's super helpful, guys. During the pandemic, when we were both at home, he was working from home and I was home, we were both at home. He, regularly stepped in, offered to help me, like label yarn, skein yarn. He even dyed a batch of yarn at one point. But, to be honest, I love being a one-woman show. I love being 100% hands-on. And I don't think he realized how much work actually goes into hand dyeing yarn. It's very labor intensive. I'm not going to lie, like my back. Not getting any younger here, guys. It's a lot of, lifting a lot of heavy buckets of water and wet skeins of yarn, and he's always offering to help me out. So I'm truly grateful for that. He is the best husband a girl like me could ask for. He does help out when he can, where he can, and yeah, he's awesome. Kimsey G says, "What's been the most pleasant surprise about moving to the suburbs?" Oh, well, number one, that I absolutely freaking love it. I thought it would take a little bit of adjusting, but I feel like I've just adjusted immediately. Like as soon as we moved in here, I fell in love with our area. It's just so quiet and peaceful. Our neighbors are delightful. The restaurants here are so good, so good. The food out here, it's just delicious. I cannot wax poetically enough about the food out here. And yeah, it's kind of like a happy medium. Like, I still don't have a driver's license. I'll get to that in a minute. Everything is still walkable. So I can walk 20 minutes to the grocery store. Although I'm not going to lie, if I have a lot of groceries, I will take an Uber back. That usually happens about every other week or so. I do like a little outing where I go to the grocery store, do a little shopping, and then take an Uber back. But, restaurants are walkable, shopping's walkable. During warmer weather, I will take my e-bike and zip around. So that has been a big help to me. But someone else asked me, Whitney Sheho, I hope I pronounced that right, who wanted to know if I have any plans to get a driver's license now that I live in the suburbs. So, fun fact, earlier this week on Monday, I sat down and took my DMV driver's permit test online, and I passed. So, one step closer to getting a driver's license. I have an appointment next week to go to the actual DMV where I take an eye exam and get my driver's permit. So after that, I can start taking driver's lessons, get my hours in, and I will have a driver's license, hopefully. Fingers crossed by this summer. Very scared and very excited at the same time. So, I know I can do it. I mean, I don't plan on driving long distances. I mean, the main point of me getting a driver's license is for me just to get from A to B, do a little grocery shopping, visit friends without having to rely on them to pick me up and chauffeur me. Because I have to say, that leads me to my next unexpected delight of moving to the suburbs. My newfound group of friends and knitters in the area, I love you guys. I moved out here and all of you just reached out to me wanting to get together, and just the warm and fuzzies, guys. I'm stumbling on my words because I have no words. It's just so wonderful to have met these wonderful group of women that I feel so lucky to have come to know and, be able to call my friends and, just get together with them on a regular basis and knit and chat. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. That includes marrying my husband, quitting my day job, getting a cat, and moving out to the suburbs. So thank you so much for that question. And Acorn Knit, hi Natalia. Oh my gosh. Hi, where have you been? Natalia, by the way, if you don't know, she has the Acorn Knits YouTube channel, wonderful knitting podcast, YouTube channel, I should mention, and she's been on a little bit of a hiatus traveling, I think. How have you been? I haven't heard boo from you. So yeah, I was thinking about you the other day, believe it or not. But anyway, she wants to know, which yarn companies or knitwear designers do you think deserve way more recognition and cult status? Top of mind, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Crochet. And I know that sounds like an odd answer because really, Kristen, Crochet? Coming from a knitter's perspective, I feel all too often that Crochet kind of gets dismissed as the other craft, or it's too easy, or it's too hard, or if some people aren't a fan of the fabric that Crochet creates. And I will admit that I'm guilty of this. It actually is a very hard craft. If you've, ever tried to crochet, it's like coming from working with 2 needles to suddenly hooking. To some, it might seem too easy, but because you're just working with a hook, but getting under those stitches, recognizing ththose stitches, which loop to go into, it's a whole nother ball game, my friends. Of course, I mentioned I stumbled on, I started, binge watching Tony Lipsy's channel of TL Yarn Crafts. She just opened my eyes to a whole new world of yarn dyers and designers and techniques. I mean, Tunisian crochet. I had no idea what Tunisian crochet was until I started watching Tony's channel. And it creates the most beautiful, most interesting fabric that would be hard pressed to be able to accomplish with knitting, or just regular crochet. And, there's also mosaic crochet. There's a lot to be had with crochet through Tony's channel. I mean, I've grown an appreciation for the possibilities to be had with yarn brands like Lion Brand, Karen, even Red Heart, and dare I say Cotton. I mean, Cotton gets a really bad rap, but it really does come down to the tools that you're using. So yeah, sure, there are some brands of cotton that are, a little something left to be desired. They're a little rough, but there are some certain yarn brands that make the softest cotton that I've ever felt. And when it comes to crocheting or knitting with cotton, it really does come down to the tools you're using. So, if it's not flowing with a bamboo needle, try switching to a metal needle, and you'll be surprised with the difference that something like that can make. And I have to give credit where it's due, because if I didn't start watching Tony's channel, I would have never heard of yarn dyers like Green Letter Day Yarns, Montana Crochet, Sewrella. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful website. She also makes gorgeous Tunisian crochet hooks. I mean, links to all of these down below. And then I stumbled on a pattern that I am head over heels in love with, that I am planning to knit in the very near future. Crochet in the very near future. It's called the Intentions Wrap by Britt Garber, aka KnotBadBritt. And this wrap is so beautiful. It calls for mini skeins, which is something that I don't typically knit with. I used to collect mini skeins for my granny stripe blanket, but I've that's been in hibernation for quite some time. It might be time to whip that project out, but yeah, for the most part, I don't really work with mini skeins. But until I watched one episode where Tony talks about projects that you can use mini skeins for, she introduced me to the Intentions Wrap, and mind was blown. I was like, I totally want to make that. So I have some yarn coming in the mail that I will talk about in the next episode that I'm very excited about for that project. But yeah, definitely, if you've been thinking about trying crochet or on the fence, or just kind of, ooh, that's not the craft for me. It's, don't be a snob. Give it a try. Give it a go. Because again, crochet is so much more than granny squares, tea cozies, and the like. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with them, but there's a whole world out there that I think is worth looking at. Last but not least, I would be remiss not to mention Janie Crow. And I have Ashley, who is Pearl Magnolia on Instagram. Hey, Ashley. She suggested that I check out Janie Crow. Several of you actually recommended Janie Crow to me. And I had actually watched her interview on the Fruity Knitting podcast. They did an interview with a really wonderful interview with her. And oh my goodness, guys, her designs, her patterns are out of this world. As you know, I am a huge fan of William Morris, Jane Morris, the whole Art Nouveau arts and crafts movement. I love that aesthetic completely. And Janie Crow is very much inspired by those art movements as well. There's one pattern that she designed in particular that I want to make. I believe it's called the Love's Enough blanket, and Oh, it's so absolutely stunning. I'm very tempted to cave and just purchase a kit right now, but one, it's not available in the color way that I would like it to be available in, and the yarn is really hard to come by, so I may wait until it's available. And two, I definitely want to hone my skills a little more. I'm still a little shaky when it comes to crochet, but I'm here for it. Jessica.gif asks, I'd love to know more about Bella. How long have you had her, and does she ever play with your yarn? What about Miss Judgy? Does she have a favorite spot in your new house? Okay, all right. I love talking about Bella. She's my girl. She's my baby. She's my fur baby. Bella, by the way, is my cat. We adopted her back in 2012 from a pet shop in Brooklyn when she was about a year old. So now it's 2023. Wow, so we've had her 11 years, so she must be about 12 now. So she's getting up there. And I lucked out immensely because she does not go near my yarn. If I'm physically playing with, obviously playing with her with a yarn ball, she'll bat at it a little bit, but then she'll lose interest. She'll just go off somewhere else. Your next question was, how's Judgy? And Judgy was our outdoor cat when we were living in Brooklyn, and I'm sad to say that we did not take Judgy with us. Just because she's a feral cat, I did some research on this, and it would almost be detrimental to her survival because she's an outdoor cat, and just introducing her to a new environment she wouldn't be able to survive. So we did leave her in Brooklyn. However, I'm happy to report that our neighbors, we talk to them on a regular basis, our old neighbors, they say that they still see her, she's doing well, and the people that bought our old house, they still feed her. So she's very well loved and taken care of. Although I do miss her. I have some photos. I'll try and pop some in here. I miss that cat every day. She's the best. She's the best outdoor cat. This next question is from Rochelle D. Knits. I hope I pronounced that right. She says, hi, Kristen. I'm going to start my yarn dyeing business. Yay! Can you give me some advice to succeed? Thanks a lot. First of all, congrats. I'm so excited for you. Best of luck. My first tidbit of advice would probably be, first and foremost, if you do have a day job, don't quit it yet. Don't, just give your 2 weeks notice and hop into this thinking that, your company is going to explode overnight, because nothing ever does happen overnight. As I said earlier, I didn't quit my day job until I was able to match my current salary and a little then some, because you do want a nice cushion to hit the ground running when you do go full time, because it is an adjustment. I'm not going to lie. Quitting your day job and suddenly going to working for yourself, you need time to get into a flow, into a rhythm, and finding a workflow and schedule that works for you. Stay true to yourself and don't compare yourself to others. And this is a trap that many of us fall into, yours truly included. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, and there are gonna be days when you look at another dyer and feel inadequate, or you're not doing enough or as much as you should. And I'm here to tell you, do not do that, because as I think it was FDR that said, comparison is the thief of joy. Again, everyone is going at their own pace. Everyone's at their own level. Stay in your lane, eye on the prize, and, stay true to yourself. The market sometimes feels oversaturated, like you're just a needle in a haystack, but at the end of the day, everyone has something new to bring to the table, has their own unique spin on things. For example, and I hope they don't mind that I mention them as an example, but Corner of Craft, Hannah, she is known for she also dyes yarn, by the way, and she's known for her Dungeons and Dragons themed yarn. And, me personally, I don't really play Dungeons and Dragons, it's not really for me, but there's a whole mass of knitters out there that love Dungeons and Dragons, and she's their go-to for hand-dyed yarn. And Gabby of Plies Hellhounds, she's known for her dark academia aesthetic, which is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love her yarns. Anytime I have the opportunity to buy her yarns, I do. And, me personally, I have a very moody, gothy, I feel like, aesthetic when it comes to my hand-dyed yarns. So, everyone's got their spin or injects their own personality into their work. This leads me to my next tip, which is you're not going to please everybody. You're not for everybody. You're going to have people that absolutely love your work, and then you're going to have people who just really don't care about your work. They're going to have things to say about it, not nice things to say about it, and that's okay. You're not going to please everybody. You're not for everybody, and you do, at the end of the day, you do want that, because that's what's going to separate you from the crowd. That's what's going to make you stand out. So embrace that. Embrace the fact that, there are some people out there that you're just not for. The next piece of advice is have strong policies and boundaries in your business, because there are going to be people. There are going to be people, and they're going to reach out to you that love your work, and they're going to want to, they were going to want you to do some custom orders. They're going to want you to do collaborations. They're going to want special treatment. There are some special snowflakes in the field, my friends. Be wary. And when it comes to this, I say go with your gut, trust it. If it feels wrong, do not be afraid to say no. If it doesn't work out for your schedule, your process, do not feel guilty about saying no to things, especially collaborations that don't exactly fit. No matter who the designer is, no matter who the dyer is, or what have you, whatever opportunity arises, if it's not a good fit or you're just not feeling it, do not feel guilty about saying no. Because if you say yes to something that isn't a good fit, that doesn't align with your policies or your brand or your vision or values, there's going to be a lot of resentment that builds up. And trust me, I've been there many a times. It took a long time for me to get to the point where I felt comfortable and confident about saying no to things. So yeah, don't be afraid to say no, have boundaries, and stick to them. Be patient, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, don't burn out. If you feel like you're working too hard and you're not getting a break, take a step back, take a deep breath, give yourself some time, cut yourself some slack, give yourself some grace, treat yourself to something nice, and come back to it when you're ready and feeling fully energized. Because yeah, I am very guilty of burning out and working myself too hard. So, as I've been growing, I realize that I don't want to grow Voolenvine yarns. I like being a one-woman show and being small as a small business. And I'm completely okay with that. There are other dyers out there that have teams, and good for them. Good for them. I'm so happy for them, but that's not something that works for me. So, as you build your business, you're going to find what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And yeah, I feel like I'm just repeating myself now, but anyway, I hope you get the gist, and I hope that was helpful. Best of luck to you. Please let me know what your yarn company is called, so I can shout it out to the world and let people know about it when you're ready. And yeah, good luck. Transient Meow, hello. She wants to know, is there a pattern that you absolutely love but will probably never knit? The one that comes to mind is anything by Marie Wallin. Her patterns are exquisite. Just the color work is so intricate. The color play, it seems like a massive undertaking. And case in point, like over the weekend, I ran into Kim, of one of the co-hosts of the Knit Together with Kim and Jonna podcast, and she had a beautiful cardigan on, colorwork cardigan by Marie Wallin. And I'm never going to say never, but in the foreseeable future, near future, I don't foresee myself casting something as epic on. Colorwork is not where it's at for me at this time, but from afar, I've just been admiring everything Marie Wallin. Last but not least, one more question for the road. How many questions did we have today? This is going to be a long episode. This comes from our Corey Maid. What are your favorite yarn YouTube channels to watch? Okay, so I subscribe to many a knitting, yarny YouTube channel. I don't have all the time in the world to sit down and watch like a full 45-minute episode, or let alone, I don't know, at most I'm able to sit down and watch a 20-minute episode. That's why I like making these episodes about give or take 15-20 minutes. It's, what I'm able to watch in one sitting usually, but there are, I do still subscribe to channels that are longer and try to watch as much as I can. So I'll just give you a list of channels that I subscribe to and enjoy catching up with once in a while. And these are in no particular order, by the way. So Knit Together with Kim and Jonna goes without saying. Hey Kim, hey Jonna. Lovely podcast. If you haven't heard of them, what are you doing in their life? Then there's Knitting Posse with Kim, Kate, and Laura. Skeindeer Knits with Ellie, of course. I love Ellie. Wool Needles Hands with Taylor. She's also the dyer behind Fiber for the People. Definitely check her out. Stitching Over the Days with Constance. She has not put out an episode in quite some time, but I thoroughly enjoy her channel. She's just so, her projects are chef's kiss, so stunning. Truly works of art. Constance, I don't know if you're watching this, but I miss your channel. Please come back. Please come back. And then, as I mentioned, Acorn Knits with Natalia. And there's, of course, Stranded with Jude Harper. Queen's Yarn Boutique with Rochelle. And she also does a lot of crochet as well. That didn't mean for that to rhyme. That's the way it came out. Kudo Vakika with Kika. And I actually started watching her channel because she started out as a photography channel. So when I was learning photography, I would binge her channel because I love her aesthetic. I love her personality. And who knew? She was also a knitter. And I think a couple years ago, she transitioned from being a photography channel to a knitwear channel. So definitely check her out. I love her aesthetic. It's wonderful. So yeah, Kudo Vakika, Arne and Carlos, of course. There's Witchy Knits podcast with Shy. Hi, Shy. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the Corner of Craft with Hannah. And recently, of course, there's TL Yarn Crafts with Tony Lipsy and Chevy Rell. She seems really fun to hang out with. And yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much in a nutshell what I subscribe to on YouTube when it comes to yarny channels. Fricks Girl Knits, hello. She wanted to know if I'm still roller skating. In spirit, yes. And to be completely honest, I have not roller skated in, I feel like, over a year, just because we moved here and I'm still kind of looking for a place to practice. There's nothing that I can really walk to that with like a flat surface that I can practice on. So hopefully I'm learning. Once I learn how to drive, I can just pop my skates in the trunk and drive to a place where I can practice skating. But I want to get back at it, guys. I really, really want to get back at skating because I miss it so much. It's so fun. So have not given up on it. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. Thank you for 50K subscribers. Yeah, it still blows my mind that we made it to 50K subscribers. I'm hoping I didn't say 500K subscribers in the intro. Did I say 500K? I'm so sorry if I did. My brain, guys. It's still morning. It's have not had enough coffee. Maybe I should have some more coffee. Anyway, cheers again to 50K subscribers. Thank you so much, as always, for supporting my channel, the work that I do, for being here. It means the world, and I am forever grateful, humbled, and I love you guys. Truly, truly I do. So yeah, if you are new here, again, this isn't the normal format of my channel. If you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm putting out videos for your viewing pleasure every week. And till the next video, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye!